Hi, everybody, and welcome to the In the Bullseye podcast. My name is Paul Peck. I'm the voice of the Bulls. Proud to be joined by new UB men's basketball head coach George Halcovage III. You're getting the full Buffalo experience from here at the Southern Tier Brewing Company. This is one of the places to be for the rest of the summer, and I think you already know this is a pretty cool spot.
It is, Paul. You know, one thing in Philly, coming from Philly, that we always knew is when Pumpkin was coming out, we ought to get to the store as quickly as possible because it was coming off the shelves.
All the Southern Tier folks are going to love to hear that you are already a fan, you know, that you'll be a regular down here too. So obviously, George, you've been on the job and you've been here in Western New York for a little bit shy of 2 weeks. So as one of Western New York's newest full-time residents, what's been sort of your initial thoughts and responses to the little bit of a feel that you've gotten for this town so far?
Yeah, Paul, I mean, I think for myself and my wife, Lizzie, it's just been an overwhelming, welcoming area where we felt like we were home immediately. When we touched down, we talked about it to meet Mark Allnut and his wife, Kate, and we did our visit with them initially. It felt like home, and then meeting all the great staff at UB the next day was an unbelievable start to our journey. And then as time goes on, my eyes are just opened up like, wow, this is incredible, man. Like, you can't find people like this everywhere, and this is a place we're ready to put our feet down.
You know, I was thinking a little bit that, you know, this is two of the most amazing weeks of your life. You know, probably you'll tell us that you go back to the days of a kid where you dreamed of either being a professional basketball player or maybe a basketball coach, and to some degree that dream has started to come true. Have you given yourself or even had the time to even let that soak in a little bit?
You know, to answer your question honestly, no. I think, and I've always thought this going through 15 years where I came from at Villanova, I think we're going to look back down the line when I'm all done and I'm ready to retire like my former boss, Coach Wright, did, and look back at all these memories and be like, wow, I'm really proud of what we were able to do with incredible people. So right now, I think I'm just excited to hit the ground running, get going, start building something special here at UB with a great staff that we brought in.
Yeah, so that was the next question. So as we record this from the Southern Tier Brewing Company on Wednesday, April 12th, you have just completed your staff. And I know that was probably priority one after you take the job and figure out where your office is. Like, you got to get the guys that are going to help you on this journey. So I want you to talk a little bit about the staff, and just for people that don't know yet, the assistant coaches Calvin Cage, Hamlet Tibbs, Jake Prizzuti, Tim Saunders is going to be your director of basketball operations, and Jack Fitzpatrick will stay from the previous staff on the video side. Take me through each guy a little bit, what you're excited about, and what as a whole this staff is going to help you do.
Yeah, I think first off, you know, they're all incredible coaches in their own right, and we're really lucky to have them. And they have great families as well. So that's one thing I was really pumped about, was that some of these guys have families and got to meet their wives or talk to them, and I'm just really excited they're going to come be part of our family first and foremost. Coach Tibbs, coming from Notre Dame, he and I have kind of come up, had great mutual respect for each other in the ranks at around the same time. He's got extensive career experience. He was at Vermont, was at Albany. He's a local guy, you know, not too far from Albany originally. And him and his wife, Amanda, are just tremendous. He's a great coach with great pedigree. We're excited to have him. Next guy, you know, obviously a fan favorite here. Hey, can I get everybody real quick? I need everybody in here. We got to give a warm welcome home to one of our own, Calvin Cage, everybody, right here. Let's go. We're talking about him right now. You be great. Thank you for your attention on that, Calvin. Appreciate it. But no, Calvin Cage is here and back with us. Obviously, I have great connections in the DMV, as we call it, down where he's originally from. But he made UB and Buffalo a home for himself, and to have him back here, it's a great honor. He's a great coach, outstanding with the guys. Really excited to have him back here. And then, you know, the newest assistant that we just hired today, Jake Prizzuti, is back in Western New York, right? He grew up diehard Bills fan. I think actually Coach Tibbs is as well. So I'm going to be a little outnumbered. I'm going to gradually build into loving the Bills here. I know that, all right? I am an Eagles guy, but I'm going to grow into this, at least for my AFC team. But no, having Jake here as well, and his wife Brittany joined this. You know, Jake comes not too far, about an hour south of here where he grew up, and he's back home. Played at Syracuse, but then has an extensive career of being in the NBA, being in USA basketball, and then being an assistant coach at Marquette, and then at Pitt, right? So we feel like his experiences coming in is going to add value to our experience as a staff. Tim Saunders, it's my guy, Coach Sando as we'll call him.
It's following the Halcovage.
I'm Coach G, it's easier, right? So that's Coach Sando. But no, Tim's a great young coach. He was with me at Villanova for 6 years, was a walk-on, and then became a graduate assistant and video coordinator, just outstanding in every facet. Also originally from Southern California, he's got strong ties to out there. So we're really excited, and for me personally, having him in here is huge for myself because he knows everything I'm thinking about, sometimes better than I do sometimes. And then our guy Jack, you guys all know we love Jack here. Jack Fitzpatrick, he's just outstanding. And when I got here, got the job, I wanted to evaluate, you know, do we need to retain anybody that could be great for us, great for myself? And I just look at Jack as a young guy who's going to grind the way I grinded to where I'm at today. And I think one day he's going to be a head coach. And so when we had the opportunity to talk to him about it and say, do you want to stay? And he said yes. I was really ecstatic.
All right, here's your interesting tidbit about Coach Tibbs that you can throw back at him. Obviously coached at Notre Dame under Coach Mike Bray. Maybe you already know this. Coach Bray's son played football here at UB, was on the 2008 MAC championship team. Coach Bray was at a bunch of games during that year, so we know how much there's a little bit of UB connection there.
Coach Bray actually texted me all fired up about Coach Tibbs. And he said, you know, Coach Tibbs is a relentless worker, would be great. My son went to UB, and then he just ended it with, who are we? UB, in the text to me. So, yeah, we had a little exchange on it.
There you go. That's awesome. So, yeah, it was fun getting a chance to meet Coach Bray back in those days when Kyle was playing here, and he'd just kind of randomly show up when the schedule allowed. It was always pretty cool. All right, I want you to take everybody a little bit through the hiring process, and we're going to get a chance to talk next week to Mark Allnut, who's going to kind of take us through the journey on his side. But when this job opens up, is it on your radar? You hear about it, you're like, hey, I think I'm interested there. Take me a little bit about the initial reaction to knowing that, hey, maybe this is something I want to pursue.
Yeah, I honestly would have loved to be here, but sometimes in this process, you also know when somebody wants you, they're going to reach out to you as well, right? So, you know, in coaching, at some point, you usually have an agent, and they're kind of getting a feel for everything and where it's going on. So, you know, I was open to a job of this nature, and I wanted to be at a place like Buffalo, right? And ironically, people thought I was going maybe getting a different job somewhere else, and it was in, you know, Twitter world and all that. And I wasn't thinking that. I was like, you know, when my agent tells me I'm going to get a job or something's going on, he'll let me know. Those guys usually have a good pulse. And randomly, a Sunday night, my wife and I are sitting on the couch, and I'm like, you know, Liz, I don't know what's going to happen, you know. Like, you know, we were great. We loved Villanova. Obviously, we were there 15 years, but we were ready if there was a great opportunity for myself to become a head coach. And we wanted that for our family, and we were ready to do it. And randomly get a call from my agent, Buffalo. Would you be in? Would you be interested? Looked at my wife, I'm like, yeah, we're interested. And that was on a Sunday night. Monday did a quick interview with people on Zoom. Great people here, you know, with Mark, other guy, Eric Gross, Deanne, Aaron Stang, Nate Wills, all the great staff, an incredible staff here. So many incredible people already at UB. I'm going to forget to mention a couple names, but got on there with them, and then Tuesday, Lizzie and I fly up together. Ironically, she was supposed to go to Scottsdale the day we came up here, and we actually met in Scottsdale. So it's a long story. We'll get into it later.
It's more glamorous.
That's for another podcast. But no, we flew up and right away.
It's the same, just minus the cactus. The cactus. That's all.
We just knew, and I think we knew we had a chance when Mark and Kate said that they go to Orange Theory Fitness together, and my wife and I looked at each other and we said, so do we.
There you go.
And we were clapping hands, and then the next day, though, got up here and then did another couple meetings on campus. My wife got to see the area, and we said, God, just please, we would love this. It would be home for us. It's everything we want more. And luckily enough, on Thursday, the next day, Mark called and offered us a job.
So as you're in that mode of sort of waiting and trying to figure things out, I assume you're talking to some of your colleagues around the country in the coaching world. What kind of feedback are you getting from out, about this job, about the program, from people that are in your industry?
Honestly, you can't tell anybody anything, or you probably aren't getting a job. So I can't mumble the word. You know what great jobs are. We thought UB, once we knew they were interested in us, obviously my wife is going to take my word on basketball a little bit, right? And I looked at her and I said, this is the best job in this league if we do it the right way. There's great programs in this league, great respect for those programs that we're going to have to compete against. However, if you come up to Buffalo, we want everybody to come up to Buffalo and watch us, all right? Fill out our arena, but you realize how special a place this could be and how this is a flagship program in a great city, and we could be the basketball team in this city.
I know Mark and the rest of the search committee do some selling on their side with a presentation about what they have available, what the program, the assets, all those other things. What impressed you the most about maybe learning about some things about the way this program is situated that maybe you didn't know before, or maybe you were surprised about?
I think every program's going to have things you like and things they're going to need work, right? And you just got to identify what those things are. And if it's a great job, you're going to just dive head first in and then work at what you need to work at, and then just keep enhancing what's already great about it. So it wasn't as much about that. I mean, when we came here and we felt this and we walked in the arena and we knew when we could get this place going what it was going to feel like, Paul, it was like, wow, this could be special. But more importantly, it's the people. When you get around great people and you work for great people, and Coach Wright always told me, when you go for a job, most important thing is the athletic director that you're going to work with, and having a great relationship and knowing that you guys are going to be able to work together at the highest level. And Mark's going to be the best person in the world for me to work with, and I know that. And that was a big step. And then getting to meet the rest of the staff it made complete sense. And then obviously there's great tradition here. There's a want to compete for championships in the MAC, and not too long ago, we've had great success in that regard, right? And we want to have a team out here, where we're competing for MAC championships. We're competing to go to the NCAA tournament. That's going to be our goal. We're not going to talk about it with our team all the time, but that's really what we want, and we feel like this place deserves it.
Talking with new Bulls men's basketball head coach George Halcovage III. It's the In the Bullseye podcast as we come to you from one of our great UB Athletics partners, the Southern Tier Brewing Company, downtown at the Harbor Center. All right, you talked about the team and competing for championships. Let's talk a little basketball between the lines here. Obviously, anytime there's a coaching change, there's going to be some player movement. Where are you at with the roster? What are your conversations been like with some of the players that are still here, some that are considering whether they want to be here? What's the update a little bit on what this roster may look like that you're going to get a chance to coach?
Yeah, I think, out of respect for every individual, I'd like to keep individual people's names separate right now, because we're growing our relationship, we're building trust, and I feel really good about that with all of our guys. With every one of our guys, though, I think it's been about just having an authentic relationship and talking about the situation, right? The world of the transfer portal, is what it is, right? It's the reality of college athletics, and it's something we have to embrace. Our staff's going to embrace it, and I just have had an open door policy with our guys to say, hey, let's talk. Let's get to know each other. What are your expectations? What are your goals? And whatever they are, whether they're to stay at UB and be a part of this, what we're doing is building something special, or going somewhere else, I'd love to help you in that process, and we would love to help you. So that's really been the message, right? And then there's guys, I think they're going to figure out if they want to be here, that we'd love to have them. I think we're having those conversations daily. And then if there's guys that want to move on and go somewhere else, we're going to support them as well, because these situations are unique, right? New head coach, new situation for them to all deal with. Like, they got to figure out what's best for them individually. But I feel really great about the staff we have and what we're trying to build here, and I think some of those guys would really fit into what we're trying to do.
What kind of style? Is there a definable style of what we're going to see when that first jump ball gets thrown up in November? You know, what's the George Halcovage III coaching style? I'm trying to think of a better word than style, but you know what I mean. What do you want your teams to do? What do you want them to be? Is it going to be a run and gun? Is it going to be a slow it down? Is it, you know, what are we going to see for those of us, and there are a lot of Bulls fans that are pretty savvy about knowing their hoops. What are they going to start picking apart when they start seeing this team play?
Well, Paul, if I tell you that now, we're going to give an advantage to our teams we have to play, right? We're trying to win a MAC championship here.
You don't have to give any plays away here.
No, I'm kidding. I think style play is going to be based off personnel. I come from a system, and I'm very comfortable coaching in a way in which you know your personnel and you do things that are going to fit your personnel best. So we want to have skilled players. We want to be able to develop their skill set. We want to have interchangeable players where we can play different ways, where we can put guys in different spots within our offense, and then try to figure out matchups we want to attack offensively or put guys in positions to be able to put them in the best spots, right? Obviously, you want to have guys that can shoot the ball or develop guys' shots, right? So I think it's going to be a balance of how we play, and what we do is going to be really getting guys to be able to play off concepts, play off of each other, read and react. You know, we're not going to make them memorize 900 different plays. Or I'm not going to be the coach telling them, hey, if I draw it up, you're going to score every time, because they got to make the shot, right? So it's more about developing their skill sets while also putting them in positions to be successful. And then defensively, it's going to be based off of, again, you know, who is our personnel? We could play different ways, right? We could switch, right? I'd love to be able to switch 1 through 5. But I also know you can't switch all the time. So then you got to be able to play different ways in ball screen coverages. If teams are really good in the post, how are you going to guard the post? Do you have to give a little extra help on those guys, right? All those nuances. We're going to work on all that. We're not going to be complex, but we're going to be able to adjust, right? And I think that's going to be the key. And pressing and getting it in and playing faster, I think that's going to be based off of right now where our team's at. When we come to that time in November, we're going to know, all right, are we better to slow it down and grind teams in the half court offensively? Or do we have guys that can get up quick, and is that our advantage, right? We'll make that decision as a staff, but what I do know is we're going to get our guys better. We're going to develop them individually, and we're going to have them playing together, and I think it's going to be a fun style of basketball for everybody here at UB to watch.
You had a front row seat being in the Big East to what obviously the Connecticut Huskies were able to do to win a championship this year. So much of high-level sports can be stealing ideas from other people. Is there anything that you learned from battling those Huskies throughout your entire career and seeing how they were able to win this year that you might steal a little bit from to turn it into a Buffalo Blue?
Paul, you're throwing a little salt on my wounds right now, man.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's all good. It's all good. You know what? You're always, as a coach, I think you're always evolving, and you're always got to have a growth mentality, right? A growth mindset. We're going to talk to our guys about that as well. Everything we've done, whether it's been at Villanova, what I've learned from Coach Wright is he's evolved as a coach, right? And in my time with him, with Kyle Neptune, this year we evolved as a staff as well. You're always picking different things that you think could fit you, that you could take from other guys, right? You respect guys who are great coaches. Coach Hurley's a great coach. There's obviously some things or little things. I scouted them, right? So I scouted them for multiple years. So, yeah, when you scout different teams, right, if you're an assistant, you're going to have different ideas based off of what teams are doing. When we go practice, you know, we'll have a scout team trying to do what other teams are doing. You might all of a sudden say, hey, we did that pretty well. Let's find a way, not tomorrow. Let's not mess our guys up, but maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe we can implement that in our system, right? So I think we'll be open to doing those things, and yeah, there's always going to be things we take from people.
We're here at the Southern Tier Brewing Company. When we're done recording this podcast, you're going to get a chance to meet a whole bunch of Bulls fans that are excited to meet you as we start to learn a little bit more about who you are. Take us into your background a little bit. I mean, has basketball always been your sport? Has it always been growing up in Pottstown, Pennsylvania?
Oh, hold on, Paul, I got to stop you. It's not Pottstown, it's Pottsville.
Pottsville.
I love that you did that.
That's me.
Hey,
that's on me.
I love
I'm going to run
laps
after that one.
No, it's all good. No, and you probably did that because it's the home of Yingling beer. So And I'm not trying to promote it right now. I know where we're at, but no, my hometown is Pottsville, Pennsylvania. I come from a family of 5 kids, blue collar, in the coal region, anthracite coal region of Pennsylvania. And you know what? It's funny because Buffalo as a city itself feels a lot like how I grew up. Everybody's got each other's back. Everybody's really excited to be around each other. People rally around sports. So I feel very comfortable in this setting here. You know, my mom and dad were just great parents. They always supported all of us kids. And yeah, basketball was always my love. You know, I was good at other sports, you know, and had good athletic careers and was able to go on to play at Babson College, a Division III school up in Boston, and be able to have a career there. And then was able then to propel myself into coaching at Villanova as a graduate assistant and being there for 15 years, right? So I just come from a family of competitors. I get my competitiveness from my mother. So, Mom, if you're watching, putting that out there for you. Love you.
That's awesome. Growing up outside of Philly, were a lot of the Philly sports teams, were those some of the players that were your favorite Sixers guys? Like who are the guys that you were the fan of when you were growing up?
You know what's crazy? You know, I love the Sixers. I did grow up a Villanova fan, so I always loved Villanova basketball, right? My mom and dad went there. However, big Eagles fan as well, right? The Randall Cunninghams back in the day, Scrambling Randall. And then with the Sixers, you know, Barkley we all loved, right? But then he moved on, right? So it's kind of a weird thing. But when AI was going and you had all those great teams, it was such a fun time in the city. There was such great excitement, right? So, you know, that's really my great memories about being a fan of the Philadelphia sports teams. But I will say I'm really excited to get up to Buffalo and really get to a Bills game soon. I got to do that because I've heard it's special.
All right, you're going to have to lose a lot of that Philly. Like, don't be talking about the Flyers and the
we
Eagles.
won't. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Know,
that's why I moved it right to Buffalo. It's all about
learn
Buffalo.
your play. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to let you retell a story that you told at your opening press conference. I think it's pretty cool how the Buffalo connection to you meeting your wife might have been the sign back then that you were destined to spend a little time in this town.
All right, I'm trying to. My wife always gets on me because I don't always tell short stories, but I'm going to do my best. Okay. We play here at Villanova in 2017.
Right across the street.
Right, and we're here playing, and we're the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. We had a great team. Josh Hart was runner-up for National Player of the Year. It's part of the story. I could go on and on about all of our great players on that team. We unfortunately lose to a really good Wisconsin team here, and we have to go home. We go home, and then as assistant coaches or coaches, any coach, if your team's not playing the Final Four, you go to your coaches' convention there. So it's out in Phoenix, and we're staying in Scottsdale, right? That's where the Final Four is that year. Josh Hart's going for National Player of the Year. He's runner-up. And so I'm there, randomly there with a couple guys from staff, and we go out and hang out at a indoor-outdoor bar, and I look across the room, and I look, and I was like, I don't know who she is, but I got to go meet her. And it was my wife. She was randomly visiting a friend there who was living in Scottsdale. My wife's from Denver. She was not there for the Final Four, and we hit it off. It was serendipity. It really was. So fast forward, right? We meet. We stay in touch. We try to figure it out for a couple years. We get married in 21, right? In August of 21, we get married right after COVID, not too long. All of a sudden, we're going for this job, and I don't know this, but before it, she books a trip, and she tells me, I want to book a trip to go see my parents. They're going to be in Scottsdale. And I just want to go see them. You know, she's pregnant, and wants to get away for a little bit. It's been a long year, right? I'm like, go. And that was on Saturday. Well, on Sunday, I get a call. Hey, Buffalo's interested. And then on Monday, we do the Zoom. On Tuesday, I get invited up with her. I tell her, you got to cancel your flight to Scottsdale. So the place we met, she was supposed to go to, we lost in Buffalo here. We go meet in Scottsdale, and then I have to cancel her flight to go see her parents in Scottsdale. And then we go to Buffalo, and we're 2.5, I don't know, weeks later, and here we are.
Yeah, fate is awesome, isn't it?
It is, man. And Aaron Stang picked me up from the airport. I told him the story quick, and he's like, wait, you lost to us at Wisconsin? I was working at Wisconsin then. And he looked at me. I was like, yeah, man, that's crazy. He goes, City of Destiny, Buffalo.
There you go.
So we've been talking with everybody. City of Destiny, Buffalo, and we're so fired up to be here.
Couldn't think of a better way to wrap it up. George, it's been a pleasure. Really looking forward to moving through the summer here, getting the roster together. Can't wait till the season gets rolling in practice October. season in November. Really looking forward to seeing you in action on the sidelines.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. Thank
George
you.
Halcovage III, new UB men's basketball head coach. We thank him for joining us from the Southern Tier Brewing Company downtown for this edition of the In the Bullseye podcast.